Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Gardener. I hope you guys are fine and are safe. So as we know that there are different varieties of succulents, and of late there are new hybrids coming out. In fact, I would say that every month there are at least 10 to 20 hybrids or more that tend to come into the market because of the demand of succulents, and people want to have different varieties, very unique looking succulents. Now among them, because of the rise of the craze for succulents, people are creating even more new hybrids. Now if you are a beginner, as I've said this earlier as well, if you are a beginner, please refrain from buying hybrids because they are going to be very tricky to handle, especially for beginners or especially for people who are from a very different environment. When I say different environment, basically an environment that is very extreme, maybe during the summers or maybe during the winters. Probably during summers the temperatures are very high, or during winters the temperatures drop down below 5 degrees Celsius, or it even starts to snow. Hybrids are going to be affected a lot because they usually prefer a temperature that is quite pleasant, between 25 degrees Celsius up to 30 degrees Celsius, but if it is acclimated quite well, it can handle up to 33-34 degrees Celsius. And when we are talking about the lower temperatures, it can handle up to 10, probably around 10. I'm not very sure because I do not experience temperatures wherein they drop up till 10 degrees Celsius. My usual temperatures during winters in my city, I experience a temperature of around 20 max. That is also very rare. It goes down up to 20 degrees Celsius. So that's all what I usually tend to see. So if I have to give you a approximate temperature of my city in summers and winters, so it's going to be anywhere between 20 degrees Celsius up to 33 to 34 degrees Celsius. This is the kind of bracket that my city has the temperature. So it's not very extreme. It's not very extreme during summers. It's not very extreme during winters. It's a very pleasant climate. So that's the reason why for me it becomes much easy to handle a lot of different varieties of succulents, apart from some varieties like sempervivums. I've already spoken about that earlier as well. So over here we have this succulent. Now I am not very sure what exactly it is. Most probably I'll put the name on the screen. I think it is that because it's a very small one right now. Now when I initially got this succulent, it did not have any roots, and I was like, for sure this succulent is not going to survive. But I think it's just a luck that it worked out. It has definitely rooted now, so it is starting to open up. So this is how it tends to look like. Now this is a variety of a variegated succulent. I will put up the name on the screen, but I'm not very confident about the name. In case if you are aware about the name, you can do mention it in the comment section. So first of all, it is a hybrid. Over that there is variegation, so you can see it is going to be very difficult. Always remember, a variegated plant or a succulent is very weak as compared to the regular succulents. Even for that matter, in the plant world, in the plant community, you might have come across that people are very crazy behind of variegated plants, be it succulents or be it foliage plants. You might have seen even in foliage plants, a lot of those variegated plants are extremely expensive, and the same thing goes with succulents as well. The moment there is some variegation, the price tends to triple up. Even if it was a regular succulent, it would have costed like half the price. The moment it has a little bit of variegation, the prices just shoot up. So I would say, one, it is very expensive. Secondly, these succulents are very delicate. They cannot handle extreme temperatures both during summers and winter. It is quite tricky to handle these succulents. Now this is one of the variety. There is another famous variety. I don't have that variety because I do not want to grow, considering that it's a very delicate. It is called as Echuaria Rainbow. I'll put the picture on the screen because I do not have that succulent. So when I had decided to buy Echeveria Rainbow, my seller clearly told me that do not buy this because it's a very unstable succulent. It tends to die off easily. It gets rotted off easily, especially if you are from an environment wherein it gets really warm. Now for me, it's not much of an issue, but still I didn't want to get into it because it's quite expensive. It's called as Echeveria Rainbow. Now Echeveria Rainbow is nothing but a variegated version of Echeveria PVN. Now the reason behind why my seller said that don't get this plant is because the variegation on Echeveria Rainbow is very, very unstable. A lot of times the succulent starts to revert back to its original PVN. It tends to turn completely into a PVN. at times it just stays normal, but as and when it starts to grow, a lot of times the plant starts to revert back to Echeveria PVN. So when she told me about this, I was like, okay, I don't want to get it because first of all, it's very expensive. I might as well buy a PVN, which is going to be almost half or 1/4 the price of the Echuaria Rainbow. So this is the picture that I'm showing you on the screen, which is Echeveria Rainbow. It looks absolutely beautiful. That's why a lot of beginners tend to rush and buy it and they end up killing it, because I have seen a lot of people who share the pictures, and the moment I see that it's an Echeveria Rainbow, I tell them that there is no hope you can do much, because the succulent will start to get worse day by day, because it does not prefer a lot of humidity, it does not prefer too much of heat, it does not prefer too cold climate. It has to be a balance between 20 degrees Celsius up to 30 degrees Celsius. So something in between that. If your city is throughout the year, if your city is balancing between these two parameters, then that succulent will do quite well. But yes, if your temperatures are above 40 degrees Celsius or below 5 degrees Celsius, then definitely such succulents will be very, very difficult to grow outdoor. Especially indoor, I'm not very sure. It might not work. I'm not very sure, but I'm just talking about outdoor succulents because I do not grow my succulents indoor. So this succulent is doing quite well. Earlier I had one, I lost it because I kept it in indirect bright light. There was not much light and it immediately rotted off from the crown. Probably it requires a good amount of light. Even I'm not very sure about this plant. That's why I don't prefer to get into it, because it becomes a little bit stressful to handle such succulents which are very delicate. I will show the picture, that one that I had earlier. It rotted off because I kept it in a place where there was not much of sunlight. So that indicates that these guys like a good amount of either direct morning sunlight after acclimating it, or indirect bright light but no shade at all, because earlier I'd kept it in a place where there was a little bit of shade and the succulent rotted within 2 days. So this succulent gets around morning sunlight for 3 to 4 hours and then indirect bright light. So far it's doing extremely well. The new roots have come up. It was extremely dehydrated. There were no roots at all, and I was like, okay, this is done. I think it's gonna die, but luckily it did survive. So I'm hoping for the best. I hope it grows a little bit more bigger and I'll be able to identify what exactly it is, because it's very, very small right now. So guys, if you are into buying succulents, I would say please do not get yourself into these succulents. These are very, very delicate, especially the variegated ones. Apart from that, the variegation is not stable. A lot of times the succulent starts to revert back to its original parent, whatever it was. Like for example, the Echeveria Rainbow, it tends to revert back to Echeveria PVN. That's what was told to me by my seller, so I'm not very sure. So I said like, okay, I don't want to get the rainbow. I'm just happy with my regular PVN. So guys, I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe and keep propagating.